Hey guys, I'm Michael Russ. I am the head of investment partners at AltoIRA. I'm joined by Tom Russell over here, who's gonna speak in a little bit here. But we're gonna talk about a couple different things here. We've got a very brief agenda, but talking a little bit about why we should all care about individual retirement accounts in the first place, why it makes sense to pay attention to and use as an avenue for raising money. And then Tom's going to talk a little bit about how Alto supports crypto investors as well. So hopefully some good information for you here. We'll have some time for questions at the end as well. But obviously it's a relatively small group, so if something comes up, let me know. Happy to adjust on the fly here as well. So why do IRA accounts matter? Obviously everyone's heard of them. Not everybody understands sort of the market size and opportunity, but in the United States, there's 150 million approximately retirement accounts, right? So huge number. And what does that mean from a dollar perspective? This slide's actually outdated. Tara had the more up-to-date one the other day, but $35 trillion of assets available solely for investing and solely for retirement, right? So lines up really well with what we're all here talking about in the digital asset space and generally the private market space. So taking a little bit of a deeper dive into IRA investments in general, for those who don't know, right, we've got two buckets, a traditional IRA and a Roth IRA. There's a little bit of a nuance on the tax side of things between the two, right? So a traditional IRA, those are tax deferred dollars going in, right? I don't pay any taxes on that money on the way into an IRA vehicle. It grows tax deferred every year. And the only time you get taxed on those dollars, as well as the growth inside of that account, is at the end of the day when you go to pull them out in retirement and they're taxed as ordinary income. The Roth side of things is sort of the inverse, right? So you put post-tax dollars into a Roth IRA account or a Roth 401k account, same structure, but post-tax dollars go in. All of the growth inside of there happens tax deferred, right? You're not paying annual taxes on those either. The nice thing about the Roth account is at the end of the day when you go to take those funds out, you're not taxed again, right? You paid taxes on the way in. So all that growth is actually tax-free inside of those accounts. And so as we think about that $35 trillion number, why is that such a large portion of US assets as far as retirements? And this is exactly why, right? The tax benefit is there for individuals to put that money away and save for retirement. And so what we see, the interesting statistic here on the bottom left is at the end of the day, in individual households, 70% of their, retirement, or excuse me, their investable assets are inside of retirement accounts. And that's how you get to that sort of staggering $35 trillion number. And so how can we unlock those assets to use for the deals and opportunities that are in the private markets as opposed to, the stocks and bonds that you can buy and use elsewhere? So inside of retirement accounts, right, a lot of people think of 401ks and 403bs, the traditional retirement savings vehicles that they have available through their employer. But as we can see on this slide, right, the IRAs have actually become the largest single option inside of the retirement account world. And that trend continues as we think about folks switching jobs more frequently, the gig economy, baby boomers retiring and rolling out all those funds from the company that they worked at for the last 30 years, because they're the only group left, I think, that does that. But that's why we are seeing more and more flows into IRAs and continuously into self-directed IRAs as well. John actually talked a lot about this too, and so I'm really glad for the folks who were in the session before, you heard a lot of these same statistics. But when we look at what individuals are invested in, we see less than 5% for most households is allocated to alternative investments. And when you compare that to professional money managers, right, that's more in the 25% range. When you look at the Yales and other endowments and foundations in the world, more like 50+%. I mean, I've seen some of those closer to 70, 80% as well. John, the multifamily office space, those guys sometimes are 100% alternatives, right? So when you think about it from that perspective, most individual households are severely underallocated to alternative investments relative to the rest of the investment community. Why is that? Traditionally, for those who have tried to make an alternative investment inside of an IRA, it's a long and tedious and paper-intensive and facts-based process that sometimes can, if you heard the other panel, right? Take 8+ weeks, and so that process is a headache and a nightmare for folks. Nobody wants to do that, and so if you've done it once, you probably stop doing it after that. And that's where Alto comes in working with deal sponsors, issuers, platforms, to make that really a quick and easy, seamless process, right? It's not quite quick and easy, but from the investor's perspective, it feels quick and easy to get that set up. We've got a couple different options for how we do that, right? I mean, the most tech-forward way and the easiest from the investor perspective way is through our APIs, right? The goal there being, if you have a process that runs all the way through to a checkout, you have an option to fund with your bank account, a credit card, or your IRA account, right? And we can plug into that API, and folks can either log into their Alto account or create an Alto account, get passed back to the issuer side to complete the flow and process the documentation. Alto signs as the custodian, and your investment's made, off and running, right? The other slightly more manual process that we have involves the issuer setting up a deal sponsor account. Again, that takes probably less than 10 minutes, but they're uploading a PPM, a subscription document, whatever the sort of deal documents are that are needed, and then inviting the issuer, right? So a little bit less seamless from an investor perspective, but still a lot less process and paperwork than faxing things back and forth, signing documents, and going through that whole headache as well. All right, so up here's a case study for sort of how this has worked as we have seen it, right? And what this means for those who are raising capital and trying to utilize IRA dollars to do so. And I think really the numbers on the left are what's the most important, right? A 94% conversion rate. So those who are expressing interest in starting to go through the process, 94% of them are finishing it because it's relatively quick and easy. On average, taking 7 minutes to get through the process, right? That's huge relative to 8 weeks of anything. And I think probably even the more powerful stuff on the bottom line there, right? The dollars invested out of an IRA account versus those coming into a deal via their taxable accounts is 4 times as much, right? So as you're thinking about where do I raise capital from, and understanding that the investor has this really great alignment of time and need on the retirement account side, they have more dollars available to allocate to whatever deals that they're looking at from an investment perspective. And we also see 2 times as many investments, so those coming back for a second round or another deal on your platform, just ultimately builds that trust and relationship, knowing that they have a quick and easy process to make those investments, and it lines up with the time horizon. So today, Alto, we've got over 50 investment partners listed on our website. We've got thousands more that are in a one-to-one, a non-public way, but private deals that are accepting IRA capital. We're always looking to add to that, right, and open the door for folks raising capital to this $35 trillion piece of the pie here in the United States, and help you unlock that piece for yourselves. All right, that's all I had on this side, and I'm going to give it to Tom to talk about the crypto. There you go, sir.
Thanks, Michael. As Michael said, my name is Thomas Russell. I'm the Vice President of Investor Sales at AltoIRA, and here to talk to you about the Alto Crypto Ira and why it's beneficial to you. I want to give you a little background about myself. I've been in investment banking, mainly on the institutional equity side, for a number of years. Worked with 3 investment banks, but I've also worked on the fintech side, most recently with CrowdStreet, whom I'm sure you guys are familiar with, crowdfunding site. And one of the things that really resonated with me about using a self-directed IRA was how hard it was to make an investment in a commercial real estate offering using a self-directed IRA. I saw it on their platform all the time. And I saw people that were really frustrated with the process. And that's what led me to Alto. And so for me, it was something that really resonated with me. You should be able to unlock the power behind your retirement dollars in order to help you invest into things that are a little bit more esoteric, a little bit more off the run, and will also offer you return over the longer term. And that was the same mission that Eric Satz had. He wanted to see a better way to do this and go through this time and paper-intensive process. And this is what I saw on the back end working at CrowdStreet. And it was a tremendously frustrating experience. So we want to access alternatives, utilize the power behind your IRA to earn tax-advantaged returns. And as Michael discussed here just a few moments ago, how all of that works, we're giving you access to private markets that have typically been inaccessible to investors over the longer term. And we help enable alternative investments in PE, VC, real estate, art, securitized collectibles, as Tara was discussing today, and cryptocurrencies. We stepped into this fray pretty early and embraced crypto as an alternative asset class early on in making the Alto Crypto Ira. And this gives investors the options they need in order to invest the way that they want to. So what can you do with Alto? There are two products that we have on our platform right now. That's the Alternative IRA, where you can invest in VC, PE, commercial real estate, securitized collectibles. But then we also have the Crypto IRA. This is a dedicated account to you. And it's set up that way for tax purposes, but it's also set up for the way to handle those securities that are in your wallet and also make sure that we're keeping everything separate. This enables you to buy and sell over 80 plus different cryptocurrencies on our platform. And this is through our integration with Coinbase Prime API. So this is all available to you. So what is the Crypto IRA? As I mentioned, it's a dedicated IRA to help investors and traders utilize their retirement funds over the longer term to help invest and trade through cryptocurrencies on Coinbase. It's a secure, very efficient way for you to utilize your retirement funds. And we offer the 80 plus cryptocurrencies through our relationship with Coinbase. We have access to BTC, ETH, Sol, Doge, Algo, DOT, Sushi, and many, many more. 98% of those assets are held in cold storage at Coinbase. This gives you trust and security, and then also insurance behind that as well through Coinbase. We have partnerships with Grayscale, Eaglebrook, Bitwise, Pantera Capital, and Skybridge for accredited investors who somebody would like to diversify their investments a little bit further. We have a lot of access to a lot of different platforms. And so why the Alto Crypto IRA? Again, options. You can utilize a SEP, a Roth for after tax, or traditional pre-tax crypto IRA to invest and trade freely in those crypto assets. Fees are minimal. We currently charge an account fee right now that roughly accounts for 0.083%, or maxed out at $25 on a crypto account on a monthly basis. Trade fees are 1.5% through Coinbase. Compared to competitor offerings, we are probably the lowest cost, and I've looked at the numbers. I've walked through this and have seen the slides up front and what these different competitors are charging you on a monthly basis, and it's pretty substantial. We're a much lower cost, simpler alternative to traditional SD IRA custodians. So this is huge for us. And then overall, in October, we are going to eliminate, and this is something I'm really psyched about because I think it's gonna really drive this product even more. But this account fee, the $2 to $25 maxed out a month, we're gonna be eliminating this. And so this is a huge leverage point for Alto. The only thing that you will have to pay for through an Alto Crypto IRA is the 1.5% Coinbase fee. So you can automatically jump in with your Roth IRA, traditional IRA, SEP IRA, and utilize us in your crypto IRA very quickly. We make setup easy online. You can contact me. I've included my email address below here, and you can contact me, and I can set you up with our team members internally, and we can walk you through how to set up the account online. It's quick, it's easy. There's about a 7.5 day wait period that you have to wait when you transfer your assets over, so it's not automatically, immediate, but you have to wait for those to clear custody and everything. We do our AML KYC checks on the back end. As soon as everything checks out, you're free to trade. Yeah, thank you.